Okay, well, hello. My name is Rich Taft from Rothenbuehler Engineering with Chris Johnson, and we're doing a little demo for you of the 1673 remote firing device. We're just going to basically describe how to set it up and use it in a simple way. So I've got on the yellow box is the controller unit where we fire from. I've got one remote unit. There can be up to 8 of these in a group at a time that you can fire. We're just going to do one for simplicity. So it's basically each unit is very similar. They have a keypad, an LCD, and what I've done is on this remote I've connected an electric light bulb just to simulate a firing load. So I'm just going to show you how easy it is to set this up and fire it. So you would take your remote, usually you'd have your controller disabled, the key removed somewhere where so nobody can mess with it. You take the remotes, however many you have, and you take them down near where you're going to be connecting them to the firing line. You just open up the lid. First thing you're going to want to do is just turn it on. And it could come up when we check the battery, and we want to see, it's about 7.5 volts, so that's enough. That's enough charge. It's not fully charged in this unit, but it's maybe half charged. You can see the power light is on and it's not blinking, so it would tell us if we had a low battery, that would be blinking. You can also do a battery test just by pressing that button once, and it'll load the battery for about 10 seconds. And then it'll tell us what the loaded battery voltage is, so you get an idea that there's something in there. So yeah, it's good. So it loaded, it only dropped to 7.5. So the battery's good to go. Charged, and you can see that the firing circuit is ready, so that means that it's safe, it's discharged, there's no energy in this device. So what we do is we go ahead and put the key in it, electronic key. This key is mated to this controller, so these two cannot communicate together, and this cannot be fired unless it has its key installed. So we'll go ahead and install that key in there. It will give us, I'm going to touch a key just to light the display. Whoop. I put the wrong key in, that's my bad. I put the controller key in and it tells us that we put the wrong key. So I'm going to put this one in. Sometimes you can label these according to what remote number they are. When you put it in, it's remote number 1, a system 1. So you can have up to 8 systems, but for a group, there's 8 remotes in a system, so this is remote number 1. This remote corresponds to, you've got a remote unit here on the controller, 1 through 8, so this would correspond with the lights here on row number 1. So, so I can see that I'm disarmed. My battery is good. The key light would blink normally, that's normal. It indicates that it's reading the key, that it's a good key. So I could go ahead and connect my firing line at this point. And when that's done, I close the box up for protection. I'll go ahead and raise the antenna, very important. We want to raise that antenna so that we can get a good radio signal. Sometimes these are hung off of a wall, in which case you can still make it vertical like that. We generally like to see the antennas raised a little bit. So I'm going to leave this box open just so that you can see what's going on as I demo. So I'm going to come back to the control unit. So say I had more of these, I'd set each one of them up just like this. And then I'd come back to the control unit. And so when we're preparing for the blast sequence, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. So I don't have a key in the controller right now, that's fine. What I'm going to do though is I'm just going to hit a status. And it's going to do a query and see what all remotes are out there and which remotes respond. And it takes a few seconds because it tries 3 times, and everybody that is out there will respond back. So there we go. Came back with remote number 1. So it comes back automatically selected. That is a feature that can be turned on or off, but this will automatically select responding remotes. The second light is the battery light, and it's solid and not blinking. That means that it's gotten determined that remote number 1 has a good battery, and also that remote number 1 is ready. It's not armed. It's safe. You can status these as much as you want without the controller's key. you don't have to have a key. You only have to have a key for arming and firing. So when we go to that stage, then you want to make sure that the key is installed. So I should raise the antenna on the controller also. Some controllers are powered by a power supply. This one is powered by a battery, but they work the same. If you have a power supply that you're running though, you want to make sure that the power supply cable is away from the antenna. Otherwise you can get some feedback from the antenna into the system. So just route that cable away. So I'm going to assume that we're all ready to, everything's all set up with the shot and we're ready to go ahead and fire it. So we're going to put the key in the controller after a few seconds here. It says key present. So this is a good key for this controller. And so now it will allow me to go ahead. I'm going to press arm and hold it for about a half a second. So it received it and it transmitted. Now the remote is arming. It's charging up. Give it a few seconds. There, the arm light came on. So this firing circuit is charged and ready to shoot. Back here, the controller has echoed that armed state of the remote. So it's saying, okay, I've confirmed that this remote is indeed armed. Still has a good battery. It's selected. It's ready to shoot. Sometimes you have more than one remote. Maybe you want to fire them one at a time. You can deselect by hitting the letter and it will deselect. And then I can hit it again and it will reselect it. And then I can hit status and it'll get status from that unit again. You can hit status as much as you want and it'll just obtain a new status from that remote unit. So you can see since I armed it, there's a countdown timer here. So there's 4 minutes and 13 seconds left before this remote will automatically return back to safe. So it's an automatic, it's a safety feature. So if you don't fire it within this amount of time, it will go back to safe. You can restart this timer by arming again and it'll count that over. This is set at 5 minutes. That's our default auto disarm time. Can be changed, but usually the default is fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire this. I've got my electric light bulb here just so you can see. So to fire this, I'm gonna hold the two fire switches together at the same time. You should see that light bulb flash. There it goes. So after a few seconds, it will report the status from that remote unit. If it detected a motion, it will display the motion detect on this screen, which I don't think we're going to see because nothing moved. So now we've got ready back from that remote, confirming that it fired and now it's disarmed and is safe for approach. We've completed the blasting operation, and then the next step is, if you had remaining remotes that you wanted to fire, you do the same thing to fire all those. And when you're all done and you've got confirmed ready status that's not blinking solid, you know that all those remotes are safe, then you can turn the controller off. You can take the key out and go retrieve the remotes. And that's about it to the basic operation of it. Just key points, make sure you have keys and the right keys with each unit. Make sure that you charge the unit sufficiently before use, and make sure that you confirm the status of the remote, whether it be armed or disarmed, which is called ready, with the status button. You can press that as much as you want, and that's about all there is to it.
Thank you, Rich.